Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's the start of a new month, which means it's time yet again to shop my stash. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the products I picked out for my everyday makeup drawer in February, and then showing you guys what's going to be new in the rotation this month. As always, there's some new stuff I've recently purchased or gotten in PR, and then also a bunch of old stuff that I want to get more use out of. So we've got a lot to cover today, so I'm not gonna ramble on as much as I normally do, and let's just get into things. Now, when it comes to base products, I don't really feel like I have a whole lot to update in this video because I've talked about a lot of things in other videos recently and I don't want to be super repetitive. So I will throw some links for you guys in the description box of some things you may want to go check out. I just did a Makeup Playtime update and talked about a whole bunch of new products that I tested out in February in that video, so definitely go watch that if you haven't already if you want to find out my thoughts on those new products. I also just did dedicated reviews on the HOURGLASS VANISH foundation, the liquid one, and the Tarte face tape, although face tape is very new to my collection. That is going to be in my everyday makeup drawer for March because I just got it. But I did do those two dedicated reviews, so those are probably like the newest things that I've tested out recently. If you want to go hear my thoughts on them, I will link those videos for you guys down below. But I do make it a point to rotate out my blush, bronzer, and highlight every single month because I have a lot of them and I really want to be better about utilizing my collection. So for bronzer, I had been using the Makeup Forever Artist Face Color in S112 in February. Now, the Artist Face Colors kind of encompass all blush, bronzer, and highlight from Makeup Forever. They are a very artistry-focused brand where you can kind of use products for multiple things, so they don't like to label their face powders specifically as blushes or bronzers or highlights. They're all just face colors of varying tones that many of which make sense for certain kind of purposes. So S112 is Sculpting 112. I use it as a bronzer and contouring powder, and I think this stuff is absolutely beautiful. I love it. It's super silky. It goes on very natural. It's super easy to blend. And this particular shade, which I believe is the lightest one they have, is really nice if you have a more fair to light complexion. It's got a nice neutral to cool undertone. It's not too orange. It's not too warm, so it's not going to make you look like an Oompa Loompa. And I find it to be very buildable, which makes it very easy to work with. If you want to build up a contour, it's not going to go on super heavy. It's not going to be patchy. You're not going to have to work really hard to blend it out. It's just super nice. Then for blush, there were two that I had picked out this last month. The Dose of Colors Mint For You collection blush in the shade StateMint. This is a limited edition product that I think you can still get on the Dose of Colors website, but I don't think it's available anymore anywhere else. But this is a really beautiful sort of soft pink matte blush, very springy and pretty. Definitely enjoyed wearing this in the last month. It goes on really lovely. It's silky, it's buildable, it's not patchy. It's a nice formula, and I don't think Dose of Colors makes blushes as part of their permanent collection yet. I feel like they just launched this as specifically part of this limited edition mint collection, but I would love to see them release a full line of blushes because I think the formula they came up with is really beautiful. And then there was the BareMinerals Gen Nude blush. This is in the shade Peachy Keen, which is a really gorgeous, kind of more vibrant coral peach shade that has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's not very, very glowy. It doesn't give you that kind of highlighter-esque appearance when you apply it to your skin. It goes on more matte, but it has that sort of almost healthy glow to it. It's not a flat matte. It's maybe just like slightly satiny and sheeny. So very, very beautiful. Looks super healthy on the skin. I feel like BareMinerals just knows how to make beautiful, everyday friendly, no fuss makeup, and that's exactly what this is. The only thing I will say is this is not the most long wearing blush. This one really wasn't either. Both of these I felt like after I would say like 6 to 7 hours, I definitely had to top them off. But this stuff is so easy to apply. Again, it's not too heavy. It goes on very smooth. It's buildable. It gives you just a very healthy, gorgeous flush. So I definitely love these. I think it's a really nice formula. I mean, it's a little bit expensive. It's $20-something for a blush. You could probably find something that also worked nice from the drugstore, but if you want to splurge, I think this is definitely an excellent formula. And then the two highlights that I picked out were the Ofra All the Lights highlight and theBalm's Mary Lou-Manizer. So this Ofra All the Lights highlight is one of their newer-ish launches. It actually is a quad that contains their 4 best-selling shades, which are Star Island, Pillow Talk, Rodeo Drive, and Blissful. So it's nice that you kind of get to try a little bit of everything all in one compact. You can use each quadra individually, or you can just kind of swirl them all together and put them on your face. And while I do think this is a gorgeous, very blinding, intense highlight, I feel like the formula is not the same as my other singles that I have. It's like a little bit more metallic, a little bit more not sparkly. There's not like really glitter in here, but it doesn't have the same finish, I feel like, as my old Rodeo Drive has, which was in the old packaging. I feel like that one was just like slightly more powdery, still very, very soft, but it didn't look quite as reflective on the skin, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on your preferences. I don't dislike the way that this looks. It definitely gives a very, very intense sheen, but I feel like it's kind of harder to make this be a little bit more natural and subtle, whereas I feel like the old one, it was a little bit more possible. Maybe I'm crazy. It's like a very, very subtle difference. But if you go back and watch my declutter video from January, my blush bronzer highlight declutter, I did swatch this little piece of this pan against my old Rodeo Drive, and they do look different. So if you don't believe me, go check that out. Also, the other thing that I don't love about this is that the packaging is so gigantic. It's very bulky. I like it aesthetically better than their old packaging. It looks nicer. It looks more professional. It looks a little bit more high-end. The old packaging was like clear plastic with like a black base, and it kind of looked drugstore. So for a $30-something highlight, it didn't really make sense to me. But this, you know, you get a nice mirror in here now. I like that it's square, like it's pretty, but it's just very thick. I feel like this could have been slimmed down so much more. Like if you look at this Dose of Colors compact next to this guy, do you see what I mean? Like it is so much thinner, and this does have a mirror in it as well. So I feel like this just takes up so much real estate in my everyday makeup drawer that I don't have to spare. Don't love that about the packaging. The formula is nice, but it's not like my absolute favorite highlight anymore. I think I like some things better, including this guy. So Mary Lou-Manizer is an OG product. I was really happy to have this in the rotation this past month. And this is a beautiful sort of gold champagne highlight. This one also is very reflective, but it's slightly less metallic. It doesn't have quite the same like wet sheen look as the Ofra one does, but it still is so gorgeous on the skin, and I feel like it really kind of just like melds well with other makeup. So it looks reflective, but it looks natural. Not really natural. I mean, it definitely looks like you're wearing makeup on your face, but it blends in a little bit more seamlessly, I feel like, than the Ofra does. The Ofra can tend to look a little bit more stripey unless you really work to blend it in with your other makeup. So I was really happy to have this in the rotation. I really enjoyed using it. It kind of made me appreciate the formula again. I feel like there's been a little bit of a resurgence of appreciation for old makeup products lately because there have been so many new launches. I feel like people are a little overwhelmed and kind of going back to what they already have, and I feel like Mary Lou-Manizer is one of those things that deserves that resurgence of appreciation because it's really, really beautiful. Now, at the beginning of last month, I said that I wanted to try to use setting spray more often in February, which I do think I was successfully able to do, and there are two specifically that I wanted to highlight today. So the first is the Pixi Makeup Fixing Mist, and I do think this is a lovely setting spray. It kind of gives a more natural finish to the skin, kind of removes some of the powderiness, and it smells nice. It's infused with rose water and green tea. The only thing I don't like is that it has alcohol, and I didn't realize that at first because it doesn't feel like an alcohol-y setting spray. It does actually kind of go on feeling a little bit more hydrating, but the second ingredient after water is alcohol, so that made me kind of disappointed. I've been trying to steer away from alcohol-heavy setting sprays. Even though I have oily skin, I feel like they can be very drying and actually encourage my skin to produce more oil. So I don't love that about this. But as far as how it's actually been working, it doesn't seem to be drying out my skin too much. But maybe I just haven't been paying enough attention. So I'm not going to declutter this yet. I think I will continue to use it, but just want to make you guys aware of that in case you didn't know. This guy, however, is alcohol-free. This is the Ofra Makeup Fixer, and you get a boatload of product in here. This is 8 fluid ounces, so this amount of setting spray could probably last you an entire year if you were using it even every single day, because you don't need to use a lot. This does spray quite a bit of product with each pump. I feel like you really only need like 2 or 3 to cover your whole face, because it will shower you. It's not like an aggressive spray in that it's not like one fine point that's like leaving weird droplets. It is an even mist. It's just a heavy even mist. So this is a heavy duty spray. It does seem to work decently well, but it will kind of give you a more natural to dewy finish. It's maybe not the best for oil control, which again is sometimes a trade-off of using a spray that doesn't have alcohol in it. But the one downside to this guy is that it is super heavily fragranced. If you're someone that can't deal with scents, if you get headaches from perfume, this will probably drive you crazy because it does have a very perfumey scent to it. I don't really love it. It doesn't make me want to use this. So all in all, I'm not like in love with this, but I don't dislike it either. So let's move on to some eye products. Now I had picked out 2 eyeshadow palettes to focus on in February, the Suva Beauty Protegé palette and the Huda Beauty Nude palette. I have talked about this guy so much. I've used this in videos. I did tutorials with this palette, and so anyone who watches my channel is probably aware of the fact that I'm obsessed with this. I love it. I think it's beautiful. These like purpley mauve-y tones are just super stunning. I love all the textures in here. This palette is lovely. I'm very glad that I picked it for February because I felt like this was a very appropriately color-themed palette for the time of the year. And while I am sure that this is something that I will continue to use and love for many, many months to come, I'm gonna try to put it down for March because like I need to move on to other things. Now this guy though, I am not really in love with. This is something I had received in a Boxy Luxe box a couple of months ago, and honestly there are just a couple of reasons why I don't really feel like this is something I need in my collection. First of all, I feel like for a palette of this size, there's really not a lot going on in here. You're only getting 8 shades of shadow. You get 4 mattes and 4 shimmers. You have 2 kind of lighter shades and 2 kind of deeper shades. Really what I feel like this is missing is like transition colors, because these 2 shades here are fairly dark. They go on kind of more sheer actually. They're buildable. So you could kind of actually use these as transitions and then build them up to the depth that you see in the pan. But I would have loved like an actual mid-ranged tone, even just like 1 shade somewhere in there for more blending purposes, because these 2 shades here essentially show up almost the same color as my skin. They don't really look all that different on the eyes, but at the same time they're not really light enough to highlight. So these 2 shades I don't really love. Like they're texture-wise fine, but they weren't anything amazing to me. And then the metallic shades, they're kind of hit or miss. So like the ones on the ends here are more like a traditional highlight you would put on your face. They are very smooth and creamy. They have a lot of shine and reflect. So these are really nice either all over the lid or to highlight the inner corner of your eyes. And then this shade down here, Balance, is a more traditional sort of satin metallic kind of shade. It's got a decent amount of pigmentation. It's a nice pretty kind of copper color, nothing super exciting. I've seen this shade a million times in other palettes, but it's still pretty. But then this shade up here called Structure, I wanted to love this because the tone to me is really beautiful. It's like a purpley taupe and it has silver glitter in it. And upon a swatch, you look at this and you're like, wow, it's so beautiful. It looks like it's gonna be stunning on the eyes. But I had so much glitter fallout from this shade. It was unreal. And I even used a glitter primer to like pat it on to try to hold and lock it in a little bit more. So I don't feel very inspired by this palette. I was not blown away by the quality of the shadows. I don't think, aside from the crazy fallout with this guy, any of these are bad. It's not like they go on like a horrible patchy mess or they don't show up. Only I guess these two shades don't really show up, but it's more about the tone than I feel like about the formula. But I just kind of feel a little bit bored by this. I have all these colors in other palettes, in other configurations and formulas that I like a lot more. So I don't really feel like I need to be taking up precious space in my makeup collection with this guy. I think I'm just gonna pass it along to somebody else. On a more positive note, I busted out this Sigma Longwear eyeliner pencil this past month, and oh man, this is amazing. This is such a good black gel eyeliner pencil. So if you want something in your waterline that is super matte, super black, super creamy, that is not going to smudge once it dries, this guy has got your back. Now, it is a twist-up automatic pencil, which either you're going to love or you're going to hate. I know some people actually prefer the precision of a pencil that you have to sharpen. This is a little bit more quick and easy on the go. It does have a built-in sharpener on the bottom if you want to make the tip a little bit more precise. But I actually like these automatic style pencils for my lower waterline especially. I just find them to be a little bit less scratchy, a little bit easier to work with. So I have definitely been enjoying this, would definitely recommend it. It is just super creamy, super black, super long wearing, just an all-around reliable eyeliner. And then the last eye product that I wanted to touch on from this past month is the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. Now, this has been in my everyday makeup drawer rotation for 3 months, so it is time to say goodbye. And honestly, I was kind of ready to say goodbye to this at the end of January. So this is one of those mascaras that starts out really strong and is really amazing, but then as it dries out, it gets clumpier and clumpier and clumpier until you get to the point where you're putting it on that it just is like too thick and kind of sticks all your lashes together into like spidery bunches, which is disappointing because it's expensive and because in the beginning it's so nice, it's so volumizing, and I feel like the wand, it's very thin, so it's actually really easy to work with and like get those little inner corner lashes and coat everything nice and evenly. But by the time that I got to like midway through February, I just did not really like reaching for this because I almost felt like it was too much. It was too chunky, it was getting too thick and just gloopy and not great. But yeah, I would definitely say if you're interested in this, buy the mini. Don't buy the full size because it's so much more expensive, and this is not a mascara that ages well. Like if you have a mascara like the Lancome Monsieur Big, which I love, that one I feel like could last 6 months because after 3 months of regular use, it did not change at all. The formula was just as good as day one. Like it starts off amazing and it just stays strong. So that mascara, I feel like it might actually be worth to invest in the full size. But if something is going to go off after 3 months, you're not going to be able to go through the whole tube in that time. I feel like there's a lot of product in here, so you're just better off saving the money and going the mini route. Finally, to wrap up February, I've got some lip stuff to share with you guys. First, we have these Almay Lip Vibes lipsticks. These are a new launch from Almay. I've had these in my collection for a few months now. Not gonna lie here, the orange shade Smile I still haven't actually used yet, so this is gonna stay on my vanity for March. But the shade Be Strong I have worn several times now, and this is a decent lipstick. It's not mind-blowingly amazing, but it's good. For the drugstore, for the price point, I feel like it's not gonna steer you wrong. It is a creamy, like mid-opacity lipstick. It kind of goes on buildable, like you can definitely layer it up and make it go on fully opaque, or you can just kind of apply a little bit and it goes on a little bit sheer. It's got a nice kind of glossy, satiny finish to it. I found it to be a little bit oily in texture, so it's the kind of lipstick that does kind of feel like it's collecting a little bit in like the folds of your lips, but at the same time it's hydrating. Like it didn't make my lips flake and get like weirdly dry, so it's kind of that midpoint between being comfortable because it's hydrating, but uncomfortable because it's a little bit greasy. So I don't know. I feel like the packaging is cute. I think it's a step in the right direction for Almay. This looks a lot like Sephora's Lip Stories collection, and even the name is very similar. And I like this color. I think it's pretty. It's a wearable sort of berry tone that would brighten up a lot of different looks. So I don't hate this. I'm gonna keep it. Do I think you need to like run out and buy this right now? No, not really. But if you were curious, you had a coupon and you could get one of these for super cheap, I mean, you might as well. It's not bad. And then all the other lip products I wanted to touch on just happen to be bougie AF. So the first one is the Lancome l'Absolu Lacquer. I have 2 of these, and I wanted to pull one of them into the rotation for February because I had not used this shade specifically, which is I think called Be Happy. I think this is a stunning lip color. It's orange, which is one of my favorite shades, and it goes on, it's a lip stain, so it kind of goes on like a gloss, but it has that gel like texture to it where it feels very pillowy on the lips, and you can build it up so you can be very sheer, like a nice wash of color, or it can be fully opaque, very, very vibrant. And once it sinks in, once the shine starts to kind of fade away, it leaves behind a really beautiful stain on your lips. It's lovely. I really like this lip formula, and both shades that I have are gorgeous. The other one I've got is I think Be Unique, which is like a fuchsia color. So pretty for spring and summer. So yes, I will continue to use this. Yes, I'm happy to have it in my collection, but this stuff smells terrible. It's so sad because it's expensive and it's luxury, and I feel like there's no excuse, like there's no reason that this shouldn't smell divine, but man, it smells like flowery baby wipes, and it's not something that I at all want anywhere near my mouth. So every time I applied this, I'd be like, blah, blah. Like it's not great. It looks so pretty, it's so shiny, it's got such a gorgeous color to it, but it's stanky. It's not good. So basically, I would say go to the store if you can, go to Ulta, go to Sephora, and like swatch this before you buy it to see whether or not you can tolerate the way that it smells, because it'll look beautiful and maybe you'll get over it and it'll be fine. But if you cannot get over the scent of this, you definitely don't want to be wasting your money on it. And then finally, the last product from February that I wanted to update you guys on is the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution Lipstick in Pillow Talk. This is an itty bitty baby sample that I got from Sephora as a 100-point perk. This is one of the first 100-point perks that I saw become available that I was actually really excited about, because this lipstick in full size is $35, which is insane for a lipstick, but I really wanted to try it. So many people talk about how amazing this formula is. This color is iconic, so I was really excited to actually find out what all the fuss is about without having to spend any money. And I will not deny that this is a beautiful, beautiful nude lipstick. It goes on creamy and silky on the lips. It's very opaque. It didn't dry my lips out. It wears really well. It's pretty bomb, I'm not gonna lie. And there is a part of me that is considering buying this in full size, but I am not going to let myself unless I use up this entire mini. That is the deal that I've made with myself. I never finish minis, and I feel like if you can't even finish a mini, how could you possibly justify buying the full size of a lip product? So if I can go through this entire thing, if I love it that much that I use it up and I still want to buy it at the end, maybe then I'll consider getting it. But in the meantime, I feel like there's still a decent amount of product in here. It takes a while to use up a lipstick. So I feel like I've got a solid amount of time of use on this, and I have so many other lip products to use. So maybe 6 months from now, we'll be able to talk about whether or not I can purchase this. I guess we'll see. All right, guys, so those are all of my updates on my February products. So why don't we go head on over to my vanity and I can show you what I've picked out for March. All right, guys, so as always, we're gonna start out with the top of my little organizer here. I do have some new stuff that you'll notice. I have the new Tarte Face Tape Foundation. I actually just did a dedicated review on this guy on Saturday, so I will link that for you in the cards if you want to check it out. So I definitely plan on continuing to use this guy this month, and then I will be sharing some more final thoughts in my monthly beauty report. I also decided to grab the Kokie Skin Perfect HD Foundation. I haven't used this in a while, and I wanted to see whether or not I still liked it, how it was working with my skin since it's winter and it's a little less oily than it is in the summertime. So thought I would give this guy a whirl. I also brought back the Revlon Candid Photo Ready Foundation. This is something I picked up, I think either in January or December, so I haven't used it in a little while. I took it out of the rotation for February, but I wanted to bring it back for spring. Then back here with my concealers, I've got one new addition, the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear More Than Concealer. This is something that I just started testing out, so I think I'm going to be demoing it for you guys in a upcoming new makeup playtime video. No changes with my eye primers. I'm still going to be using the Revlon Volumizing Mascara that I picked out last month, but I did go ahead and grab the Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara to replace the It Cosmetics one. And then for lips, I definitely have got some spring vibes going on. I left some things in the rotation from last month, added in a few new things. I still have my fun orangey red lip colors here that I definitely want to get some mileage out of this month. I also decided to reach for my Flesh lip products. These are the only two things I have from this brand, and I haven't used them, I think, since the summertime. This is one of the Strong Flesh lipsticks in the shade Soul, which is, again, a really vibrant red orange. Love this magnetic cap. Super satisfying. And then this is one of the Fleshy Lips lipsticks in the shade Moist, which is a much more sort of like a corally, watermelony kind of color. As you can see, the bullet's kind of screwed up looking because it's very soft, and I feel like it kind of got wiggled around inside of the packaging, so kind of a little bit messy, but it works just fine. I have another fun kind of pop-up color here. This is the Tarte Color Splash lipstick in Daiquiri. I thought this might be kind of fun to incorporate in some looks. And then a couple of drugstore lippies. This one is the Pixi Matte Lust lipstick in the shade Peach Blossom. I'm obsessed with this color. It's kind of sheer, but it's super beautiful and kind of like peachy on the lips. And then the L'Oreal Color Riche in Burnished Blush, which again is a little bit more on the sheer side. Both of these are really nice for just like pretty natural everyday looks. And then we'll move on to the drawers. Now this guy looks pretty much the same as last month. I threw in this Laura Mercier little setting powder sample that I had on hand that I wanted to try out. But all the rest of this stuff in here is kind of the same old staples I always use. But of course the blush, bronzer, and highlight drawer has seen some pretty significant turnover. I think the only thing I kept from last month is the Hoola Quickie Contour Stick, because this is the only cream bronzer I own right now. I switched out my cream blush for this one from Pixi, the Multi-Balm in Baby Petal. I love this for a very light makeup day, so gonna go back to using that. And then everything else in here is a really nice mix of old and new. I just picked up one of these Flower Pots blushes from Flower Beauty, so this is something new that I'm going to be testing out and probably demoing in an upcoming makeup playtime video. And the Pretty Vulgar Shimmering Swan Highlight in Sparkling Sass is something I got in my BoxyCharm in February, so I wanted to keep this in the drawer for one more month to continue to develop my thoughts on it. And then this guy is something I also got in BoxyCharm, but I think back in September in the very first Boxy Luxe box. This is the Skin Glow Duo in the shade Moonlight. It is a cream highlight duo, and I have barely used this, maybe only a couple times, so I thought I would throw it into the rotation this month and see whether or not it's something I actually like and want to keep. Everything else here, though, is a tried and true old favorite. We've brought back the LORAC Color Source blush in the shade Prism, which is a really beautiful matte peach color. I also have my In-Stain blush in the shade Houndstooth, which is a gorgeous mauve. I love this blush. It is very, very old, but it still seems to perform perfectly fine. It hasn't started growing mold or anything weird, so I'm just going to use it. I don't think they make this anymore. It doesn't appear on the Balm website anymore, but I think there may be some places you can still get your hands on it. It's probably like old stock, but it's really sad because this is an amazing blush formula. It's so long wearing. I mean, it is called In-Stain after all. So I'm sad that I think that these are no more, but I'm just going to continue to use and love on this guy. And then staying with the balm, I decided to grab for Bahama Mama this month. I haven't used this bronzer in a while. It's a little bit on the deeper side, maybe more of a summer color for me, but you know what, whatever. I needed to move on from Butter Bronzer and Makeup Forever because those are the two I've been using the most in the last 6 months, so we're gonna give this guy a whirl. And then finally, the Persona Cosmetics Cali Glow Highlight in Zuma. Oh, this is just a thing of beauty. It's so blinding, so creamy. Definitely a thicker textured highlight. Not for the faint of heart, but I love it. So wanted to use this guy again this month. And then the last drawer here is where I keep all my brow stuff and some of my eyeshadow singles, and I have again switched things up in here. There's a few new goodies. I have one of the new ColourPop loose pigments. This is in the shade The Scale, so I did go ahead and pick this up. So this is something, I haven't decided when I'm going to demo this on camera, but I definitely would like to do that sometime this month. I also have this Metalist Sparkling Foiled Pigment from Touch in Soul. I did a look using this that I shared on Instagram, and oh my god, it's so pretty. I think I might try to use this in my Makeup Playtime series because I just want to show you guys what it's like on the eyes. It's insanely stunning. So this is definitely going to get some love in March. And then from my stash, I brought back the Butter London Glazin Eye Gloss in the shade Unicorn. Wow, that was lucky that that did not fall upside down and get makeup everywhere. But this is one of those kind of like jelly textured eye products. It's really, really pretty and sparkly, and I haven't used it in eons, so want to give that guy a go. And then I also kept in this Dose of Colors Ideal Duo in Mint to Be because I did not end up using it in February, so I would like to try to use this in March instead. Finally, the only other new thing that's in here is this little guy, which is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. I picked this guy up because apparently I'm just like really into these tinted brow products. This one has fibers in it and it's only like $5, so I wanted to see how it compared to the Kaja one that I have here. I also have the Soap and Glory Archery one, so gonna be doing a little bit of brow comparisons in March. And then my lovely little jar of lip products. I got a whole bunch of new stuff in here. I just added this Kaja Heart Melter lip gloss stick to my collection, so this is something I probably will be demoing for you guys in my Makeup Playtime series. I also just purchased a trio of the Pat McGrath Lust lip glosses. Oh my god, they are so beautiful. So these are something I also am going to need to show you guys. They smell kind of like chocolatey and amazing, and they're very, very shiny, not sticky, kind of obsessed. So I have 3 shades of these guys that I'm going to be playing with this month. I also threw one of my shades of the new Carity The Mattes liquid lipstick in here. I got these in PR in February. This is in the shade Diana, so I probably will be reaching for this guy this month. I also threw these 2 Almay Goddess glosses in here. I got these last year, I think around this time, so these are like a year old now, and I haven't used them in a while. I really liked them when I first got them in PR, but then I kind of fell off the sparkly lip gloss train. So we're gonna see whether or not I still have positive feelings towards these or if I'm ready to declutter them from my collection. I've had this ABH liquid lipstick sitting around forever. I got this at TJ Maxx and I've still never used it, but it looks like a fun spring shade, so I thought we might give it a whirl. Now I'm pretty sure I showed you guys last month that I've been utilizing these little basket organizers for all of my loose powders. That has worked out so well for me, really loving that. I just got this Ciate powder in FabFitFun. I did not need any more loose setting powder, but gonna try it out anyway. But I grabbed a second little bin and then decided to use this to organize my false lashes, which has also worked out tremendously well. Because yes, I do have the lash binder back there, which you guys may have seen before. That is like, well, here, let me show you. So I got this Tarte lash binder a while ago, and it has been insanely handy as I've gotten different pairs of false lashes, especially ones that don't have really great packaging. I can take them out and pop them in here to keep them safe. But as you can see, this is entirely full. I don't have any more room, and I'm not really ready to chuck any of these lashes yet. I mean, I'm sure that as some of these fall apart and have reached the end of their lifespan, I will be able to rotate in new lashes, but I needed some system of organization for new lashes that are coming in. So that's why I went with this system and just popping them into this basket for now. So I have all of my new color lashes that I got. I have some velour lashes, House of Lashes, Eyelure. These ones I got from Lashaholic and a BoxyCharm. Rumor has it we're getting more lashes in BoxyLux, so this was very necessary. And then as far as palettes go, I actually wanted to just focus on one palette this month, and it is my ColourPop Magnetic palette of singles. I actually was able to build my own palette during ColourPop's most recent, like, reaching 4 million subscriber sale or 7 million subscriber sale or something, I don't know, they hit some kind of number of million subscriber mark somewhere, so they had a big sale, and they were doing one of these build your own palettes offers. I actually didn't get all these eyeshadows. I got a blush, bronzer, highlight, and then I think 12 eyeshadows. The rest of these are ones I already had in my old Z palette, so kind of finagled things around, put all my ColourPop shadows in here, and then I now have like a dedicated magnetic face palette with a bunch of different brands worth of face products. But as far as eyeshadow goes, these are all ColourPop eyeshadow singles. Many of these I have not put on my eyes yet. I've just swatched them, and I'm very excited to play around with them. I feel like I've built myself a really fun collection of both neutral and colorful shades in here. I have pretty much everything I need to create a complete eye look, from a matte cream to a matte black. I've got transition shades, I've got shimmers, I've got mattes. So I really want to challenge myself to almost exclusively just use this palette on my eyes in March. I may or may not pick up another palette this month. I know I'm planning on doing an Ulta haul. I have 2,000 something points I want to cash in, and I may get the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette. I haven't really decided whether or not I need it yet. I may pass over it, kind of on the fence. So if I get that, I obviously am going to want to test it, but if I don't buy any new eyeshadow palettes and I don't receive any in PR, this is the only one from my existing collection that I want to use because I don't get enough use out of my singles, and I feel like there's so much I could do here. I think I could really push myself to be creative, so this is my eyeshadow palette for the month of March. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and chat about some beauty goodness. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on all the products that I was using in February and seeing what I'm going to be using in the next month. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you've tried any of these products. Do you like them? Do you hate them? I always enjoy hearing your feedback. And let me know what you're planning on using in March. Do you have any old favorites that you've decided to crack back into? Anything new that you've added into your collection that you're really excited to test? Tell me all about it. And as always, if you enjoyed this series, give this video a thumbs up. I always really appreciate your support. And if you're not subscribed and you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future videos, click the button before you go. That way my face will show up in your subscription feed. And on that note, my camera is blinking at me angrily, telling me I have low battery. So that means I probably should wrap things up. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.